Hi, I'm Tim Tuller, Canon for Music at St. John's Cathedral. I'm going to say just a couple words about the music for this Sunday. Our prelude and postlude this Sunday are actually by the same composer, the great French organist and composer Charles-Marie Widor, who was active in the 19th and early 20th centuries. He lived a very long life and was very influential in the organ world. And he was actually the organist at Saint-Sulpice in Paris for 63 years. He was there from 1870 to 1933. And Widor came on the scene at a time of revolutionary changes in organ building. It was the 19th century, and organs in France in particular were gaining enormous proportions with the advent of electricity and electrically powered blowers. It allowed organs to get much bigger and more complex and powerful than they had ever been in history. And Widor was at the forefront of a group of French composers who really sought to exploit the potential of these new instruments to their fullest. And he had a wonderful example of one at Saint-Sulpice. And so he basically more or less created what is known as the French organ symphony. And the whole point of this genre was to basically create a genre of organ music that would show the symphonic capabilities of these instruments. They could really rival a symphony orchestra in terms of range, power, and just expressive capacity. And this is what he sought to do. He actually ended up writing 10 organ symphonies. And the movements that I'm playing for the voluntaries this week are both from the Fourth Organ Symphony, which dates from 1872. Just a couple years after he started at Saint-Sulpice. I'm going to play movement 3 on Dante sostenuto for the prelude, and this is a great example of Widor at his most melodic. And it's a gorgeous piece with singing melodies all the way through. It shows the more expressive side of what organs of that time were capable of doing. And then for the postlude this Sunday, I'm playing the last movement, the 6th movement finale from the symphony, and it's a big chordal piece. It really shows off the thunderous sonorities of these organs to full effect. Big, huge chordal sounds that, again, could rival any symphony orchestra. The offertory anthem this Sunday is by William Byrd, who frequents our programs here at St. John's. We really, the choir loves to sing William Byrd. His music has really endured throughout the centuries. He's considered one of the very, very greatest composers that England ever produced in any genre. And the piece we're singing this week is entitled "Teach Me, O Lord, the Way of Thy Statutes." Now, Byrd was known as being his style was very broad. He could write Latin motets. He wrote a lot for the Catholic Church, but he also wrote a lot for the Anglican Church of his time as well. And this particular piece is what's known as a verse anthem. And what that means is there's usually a soloist, but in this case we're using the entire soprano section, to sing solo lines, and then the choir will come in, the rest of the choir will come in on a section that basically repeats over and over at each verse. And these types of compositions, they were very popular in the 17th and 18th centuries. They had a pragmatic origin. They were a way that you could have an anthem and rehearse a choir very little, because the actual choral parts are very repetitive. And basically the choir sings the same thing more or less each time it comes in. But the hard work goes to the soloist, who has to learn a more elaborate solo line. And so you save a lot of rehearsal time. So they came out of a pragmatic impulse, but they became a genre into themselves, and this is a really great example of a verse anthem. So you'll hear the sopranos sing a melody, the choir will come in, then the sopranos will sing another rather long melody, and then the choir will come in again, and so on through to the end of the piece. I hope you enjoyed the music this Sunday.